The metallic floor of the training hall gleamed under the bright lights. Hundreds of cadets from different worlds moved with purpose, their limbs and senses sharpened by years of preparation. Each was focused, determined, yet careful not to show weakness. The air was filled with the hum of hovering platforms, the clatter of tools, and the soft murmur of alien voices, some high-pitched, some deep and resonant. Among them, one human girl moved like she belonged nowhere and yet everywhere. Her name was Lena. She was small, almost fragile in appearance, with dark hair tied back and sharp eyes that missed nothing. She was one of the few humans admitted to this academy, a place where species from distant planets trained to master their bodies, minds, and technology. Some of the aliens had long arms, others multiple eyes or tails. Lena had nothing extraordinary in her body, no claws or extra strength, yet she walked with a confidence that made others hesitate, even just for a moment. The training hall was enormous. Floating platforms hovered several meters above the ground, twisting and shifting as cadets leaped from one to another. Walls displayed holographic data, showing vital signs, performance scores, and maps of the exercises in progress. Lena moved carefully among the taller, stronger aliens, her steps light and precise. She had learned from the very beginning to anticipate, observe, and act before others could even react. That had kept her alive in situations humans were not meant to survive. Krylox, a young alien cadet with green skin and long, spindly arms, was practicing his flight patterns on a hovering platform. He had trained all his life to be agile in zero gravity and relied on his species' natural reflexes to stay ahead of his peers. Today he was focused on speed, pushing himself harder than ever. He leaped from one platform to another, arms outstretched, eyes bright with concentration. In his rush, he did not see the human girl walking calmly beneath his path. His foot slipped slightly, and he lost his balance. For a heart-stopping moment, he collided with Lena. The impact was minor physically, but Lena did not stumble or even flinch. She turned to him slowly, her dark eyes locking onto his, with a look that could freeze the strongest warrior. He had been trained to fight, to endure pain, and to face the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy, yet this human girl's stare made him pause, a shiver of unease running through him. His mouth opened, ready to apologize, but no words came. From the side, the instructor, Tharok, a tall alien with green skin and sharp ears, approached quickly. He bent slightly toward Krylox and whispered, almost reverently, "Sorry." His eyes did not leave Lena, who had already turned away, walking as if nothing had happened. The other cadets watched quietly, some in awe, some in disbelief. Lena continued her way through the hall. Her pace was calm, her movements measured. She noticed everything: the blinking lights above, the floating data screens, the faint vibrations in the floor from so many moving bodies. She could hear the whispers of other cadets, their conversations about her strange confidence and strange stare. Some said humans were clever, others said they were reckless. Lena ignored them all. She had learned long ago that survival required focus, not opinions. She reached her assigned training area, a platform at the edge of the hall. The floor shimmered slightly, projecting a holographic map of obstacles, targets, and other cadets' positions. Today's exercise was a simulation, a test of agility, speed, and strategy. Lena studied the map carefully. Unlike the other cadets, she did not rush forward. She analyzed first. She noticed a pattern in the moving platforms, the timing of the hovering drones, and even the weak points in the floor where others could slip or fall. Krylox watched her from afar, still unsettled by the earlier encounter. He had never seen a human move like this. They were not built for strength or speed like his species. Yet there was something about her presence, something that made him doubt his own training. He noticed how she avoided distractions, how she adjusted her steps to the slightest shift in balance, how she seemed to know which direction would be safest without looking. The simulation began. Holographic obstacles rose from the floor, spinning blades appeared, and drones zipped across the platform. The other cadets leaped into action, using their natural abilities to dodge and attack. Lena remained calm. She waited for the first drone to approach, then moved with precise timing, ducking under its path and using a platform to swing over its trajectory. The aliens around her were fast, but she anticipated their moves, stepping where no one expected a human to be. One of the drones veered unexpectedly toward Krylox. Lena noticed instantly. Without hesitation, she reached out, grabbed a tool from the floor, and sent a controlled pulse that redirected the drone harmlessly into a wall. Krylox blinked in surprise. He had expected her to focus only on herself, but she had acted to help him, though quietly, without drawing attention. The other cadets noticed. Some whispered, some gaped. Lena did not stop. She moved through the course with calm precision, using her mind to guide her actions, rather than brute strength. When a moving platform tilted unexpectedly, she balanced herself with a clever adjustment of her weight, landing softly while several alien cadets stumbled. Her focus was complete. Every motion, every thought was directed toward understanding the environment and adapting before it could threaten her. Tharok, the instructor, observed from above. He had trained thousands of cadets, but there was something unusual about Lena. She had survived situations no human could, and yet here she was, in a simulation designed to test elite aliens, performing with skill and awareness beyond what even experienced instructors expected. He noted the way her eyes scanned constantly, the way her body reacted instinctively, and the subtle way she influenced the environment around her. The simulation reached its climax. Drones closed in, platforms shifted more violently, and a sudden holographic predator appeared, its claws snapping as it lunged toward the cadets. Panic erupted among the other trainees, but Lena remained steady. She calculated the predator's trajectory, noticing the slight delay between its strikes. With a quick movement, she slid under its attack, using a fallen tool to trip it slightly. The predator stumbled, giving her just enough time to leap onto a higher platform. Krylox followed, but he was slower. He hesitated, and the predator lunged at him. Lena reacted instantly. She grabbed a small control device and triggered a defensive barrier, saving him from harm. The action was swift and precise, almost like instinct. Krylox's mouth opened, but no words came. He could not understand how she had moved faster than his own reflexes, how she had thought 2 steps ahead. When the simulation ended, silence fell over the training hall. Holograms disappeared, and the platforms settled into their resting positions. Cadets who had been confident now looked uncertain, glancing at Lena with new respect and a touch of fear. Varric approached her, his expression unreadable. He studied her for a moment, then leaned slightly toward Krylox again. "She is not what you expected," he said softly. "Remember that." Lena did not speak. She collected her tools and moved to the side, calm as ever. Other cadets whispered, some nervously, some in admiration. She had shown them that humans were different, unpredictable, and dangerous in ways they could not easily understand. Krylox watched her walk away. He felt a mix of emotions, confusion, awe, and a strange sense of respect. He had thought of humans as weak, fragile, or insignificant. He had been wrong. Lena had shown that humans had something more than strength or speed. They had intelligence, strategy, and courage that could rival any alien ability. The day ended, but the impression Lena left was permanent. Cadets who had laughed at humans who had underestimated them now glanced at her with a new awareness. The instructors noted her performance, marking her as a cadet to watch closely. Lena herself walked quietly, focused on the next challenge. She knew the academy was only the beginning. Out there in the galaxy there were dangers and opportunities that required more than raw power. She had the mind, the courage, and the resolve to face them all. And somewhere deep inside the hall, Krylox remembered that first collision, that dangerous stare, and the quiet way a human girl had taught him humility. He realized that in this universe, humans were not just survivors. They were something more, something dangerous, clever, and unstoppable. The lights dimmed, and the cadets began to disperse. Lena paused briefly, her dark eyes scanning the hall one last time. She felt the weight of being different, of being human among countless alien species, yet she did not fear it. She had learned long ago that humans could endure, adapt, and thrive where others failed. Her stare had unsettled an alien, and that was only the beginning. Tomorrow, the training would continue, and so would the challenges. Lena was ready. The next morning, the training hall buzzed with a new intensity. Cadets arrived earlier than usual, some stretching, some running practice drills, and some quietly observing others, judging their strengths and weaknesses. Lena arrived with the same calm focus she always carried. She did not hurry or rush. Every step was measured, every movement deliberate. She had learned that rushing rarely helped, and thinking ahead often saved lives. Today, the instructors announced a new exercise. It would be a mixed-species combat simulation designed to test teamwork, strategy, and adaptability under pressure. Teams were assigned randomly, and Lena found herself grouped with cadets from 3 different species, including Krylox. She noticed immediately how the aliens eyed her, some curious, some skeptical. Many whispered among themselves, questioning why a human would even survive in such exercises. Lena ignored them. Words could not harm her. Only actions mattered. The simulation area was massive. Holographic terrains shifted constantly from rocky cliffs to narrow metallic corridors, simulating various planetary environments. Danger lurked everywhere. Hovering drones, sudden energy barriers, and simulated predators that could strike without warning. The goal was to navigate, survive, and complete objectives while working with team members, who often had conflicting methods. The team gathered near the starting point. Krylox, still uneasy after the previous day's incident, kept glancing at Lena.
You really think you can handle this?
He asked, his voice a mixture of doubt and curiosity. Lena gave him a small, calm smile. "Watch first, then judge," she replied softly. Her words carried no arrogance, only quiet confidence. As the simulation began, chaos erupted. Platforms shifted suddenly, drones zipped overhead, and the terrain morphed faster than the cadets could process. Lena moved swiftly but carefully. She assessed her surroundings, predicting where drones would go, noticing gaps in the moving platforms, and calculating the safest paths. Unlike other cadets who relied on natural abilities, extra limbs, wings, or enhanced speed, she relied on strategy. Early in the simulation, one of her teammates, a 4-armed alien named Vorin, leaped toward a high platform and slipped. His large arms flailed, and he nearly fell into a simulated energy pit. Lena noticed instantly. She ran forward, adjusting her steps mid-stride, and grabbed his arm, pulling him to safety. Vorin blinked in surprise. He had never expected a human to react that quickly, much less anticipate danger and act before being asked. Krylox followed closely. He had begun to notice Lena's unusual awareness. She seemed to know what others were about to do, how the drones would move, and even where the energy barriers would appear. His species prided themselves on reflexes, yet Lena seemed to think ahead of them all. He felt a strange mixture of respect and unease. The simulation escalated. Holographic predators, designed to test coordination and fear management, appeared in the corridors. One predator lunged at Vorin, claws snapping. Lena moved without hesitation. She grabbed a nearby tool from the floor and swung it with perfect timing, knocking the predator off balance. Then she pulled Vorin to a safe corner. The aliens around them began to whisper. They had underestimated the human, thinking her small size meant weakness. They were wrong. As the team progressed, obstacles became more complex. Platforms moved faster. Energy fields appeared at unexpected angles, and the predators grew more aggressive. Lena's mind raced constantly. She directed her teammates silently, using gestures and small calls. She noticed that some cadets relied on brute force and speed, while others panicked when faced with danger. Lena's calm demeanor steadied the group. Krylox found himself in trouble again. He had been chasing a moving objective and did not see a narrow platform shifting beneath him. He slipped and nearly fell. Lena reacted instantly, shooting a grappling line from her belt, catching him and pulling him back. He stared at her, wide-eyed. "How do you do that?" he asked, his voice trembling. Lena simply said, "Focus. Watch. Move smart." Her tone was even, almost casual, but her meaning was clear. The other cadets began to follow her lead without even realizing it. Vorin, impressed and relieved, began listening to her instructions. Another alien, a small, quick species called Zyre, noticed her pattern recognition and mimicked her movements. Slowly, Lena's team began to operate not as individual cadets, but as a coordinated unit. They moved more efficiently, avoiding hazards and completing objectives faster than any other team. Midway through the simulation, a sudden change occurred. The holographic terrain transformed into a deep canyon with narrow bridges, unstable rocks, and lurking predators. The other teams hesitated. Many cadets froze, unsure how to proceed. Lena surveyed the canyon. She noticed a pattern in the unstable bridges and the timing of predator movements. She pointed to Krylox and whispered a plan. He nodded, following her lead. Together, they guided the rest of the team across, using precise timing and clever maneuvers. One of the predators lunged at Krylox unexpectedly. Lena reacted instantly, pushing him out of the way and taking the hit herself with a shield device she had prepared earlier. The impact was strong, but she remained steady, controlling her balance, and immediately countered with a move that neutralized the predator. Krylox could not believe it. He had been trained for years, yet Lena's quick thinking and precision had saved him multiple times. By the end of the simulation, Lena's team had completed the objectives with remarkable efficiency. They had avoided most hazards, neutralized threats strategically, and worked together in a way no other team had. The instructors observed in silence, noting the humans' exceptional ability to think ahead, adapt quickly, and lead without intimidation or force. Faruk, the instructor, approached Lena quietly after the exercise. His eyes, usually sharp and unreadable, softened slightly. "You are unlike any cadet I have trained," he said. "Your mind, your instincts, they are beyond expectation." Lena bowed slightly, acknowledging the praise without arrogance. She had learned that respect was earned through action, not words. Krylox stood nearby, watching. He felt a shift in his understanding. Humans, he realized, were not just fragile or weak. They survived and thrived in ways other species could not predict. Lena's intelligence, focus, and ability to read situations made her more dangerous than any physical power. He began to wonder what humans could do if given full freedom to explore and test themselves. The day continued with debriefing sessions, technical training, and tactical discussions. Lena participated fully, asking questions, analyzing outcomes, and suggesting improvements. Her contributions were precise, thoughtful, and often counterintuitive to alien expectations. Other cadets, some still skeptical, began to pay closer attention, realizing that this human girl had changed their perception of what a cadet could be. As the sun set over the academy, the metallic hall quieted. Lena walked through the corridors, her posture relaxed but alert. She noticed other cadets glancing at her, some with admiration, some with caution. She had proven herself today, but she knew that every victory came with new challenges. The galaxy beyond the academy was vast, filled with dangers, opportunities, and tests that no training could fully prepare one for. Krylox walked beside her quietly. He did not speak for a long time, still processing what had occurred. Finally, he asked, "Why do you keep going, even when it seems impossible?" Lena looked at him, her eyes calm but sharp. "Because giving up is easier than surviving," she said. "Humans learn to survive by thinking, by adapting, by staying ahead. That is the only way to live." Her words were simple, but Krylox understood their weight. The instructors gathered cadets for the next assignment. Lena stood among them, ready for whatever challenge awaited. She had proven that humans could compete with the strongest and fastest species, not by physical might alone, but through intelligence, strategy, and calm determination. Her reputation among the cadets had shifted. Where doubt had existed, now there was cautious respect. That evening, as Lena prepared her gear and reviewed her notes, she thought about the lessons of the day. The academy was only the beginning. The galaxy was full of threats, puzzles, and situations where survival depended not on strength, but on cleverness, observation, and adaptability. Humans had these qualities in abundance. She smiled faintly, imagining the challenges ahead and the ways she could use her mind to overcome them. Somewhere across the hall, Krylox whispered to a fellow cadet, "The human, she is not like us. She is something else. Dangerous, clever, unstoppable."
The word spread quietly, like a ripple through the cadets. Lena's presence had changed more than just today's exercise.
She had begun to change perceptions, teaching aliens that humans were not to be underestimated. And as the lights dimmed over the training hall, Lena remained ready. Tomorrow would bring new trials, new challenges, and new opportunities to test herself. She had survived far more than anyone expected, and she would continue to do so. In a universe filled with aliens who relied on strength, instincts, or speed, Lena had something different, something uniquely human. It was a dangerous combination, and it was only beginning to reveal its power. The next morning, the academy was unusually quiet. Cadets whispered in the corridors, glancing toward the training grounds where the instructors were preparing the next exercise. Today was not a simple simulation. It was the high-stakes survival trial, designed to test the limits of every cadet, physical, mental, and tactical. It was said that few had ever completed it without serious setbacks. Lena arrived at the staging area with the same calm focus she always carried. Her dark eyes scanned the grounds, taking in every detail: the shifting platforms, the hovering drones, the dense fog that the instructors had added to the trial to simulate reduced visibility. The terrain looked unpredictable and dangerous. Her mind immediately began calculating. Every hazard had a pattern, every drone a timing, and every teammate a strength or weakness she could use to her advantage. Her team gathered, including Krylox, Vorin, and Zyre. The other cadets eyed Lena with a mixture of awe and caution. She had already proven herself in previous exercises, but this trial was different. This was a test of leadership and survival, not just skill. The instructors, led by Tharok, gave a brief overview. Cadets would be dropped into a war zone simulation on a foreign planet. Environmental hazards, aggressive drones, and unpredictable predators would challenge them. Objectives were to be completed while avoiding injuries or failure. When the trial began, teams were dropped from hovering pods onto the rugged terrain. Lena's team landed near a rocky cliff. The fog made visibility difficult, but Lena immediately noticed subtle patterns: the way shadows moved, the faint vibrations in the ground from distant drones, and the sound of simulated predators shifting nearby. She turned to her team. "Stay close. Watch the terrain. Move carefully but decisively. Don't panic." Her voice was calm, almost soothing, yet carried authority. The team moved cautiously. Vorin led at first, using his strength to push aside small obstacles. Zyre scouted ahead, darting between rocks with speed. Lena observed everything, calculating the safest routes and predicting the predator's movements. Krylox followed her closely, still uneasy, but learning quickly. He had begun to understand that Lena's human instincts were different from any alien reflex he had trained to rely on. Suddenly, a predator appeared, a massive holographic creature with sharp claws and glowing eyes. Varen instinctively stepped forward to attack, but Lena held up her hand. "Wait," she said. She had noticed a weak point in the predator's movement. "It will strike where we expect. Move together." When the predator lunged, Lena led her team through a precise maneuver, dodging the attack and using a fallen rock to trip it. The predator stumbled, giving them a safe path forward. Krylox could not believe it. The human girl had predicted the predator's strike before it happened and had guided the team without hesitation. He realized that survival in this environment was not about strength or speed alone. It was about observation, anticipation, and quick thinking. Lena moved, like she had rehearsed every possibility. Yet she had not. She was thinking in real time, faster than anyone else. The team continued, moving through narrow corridors, unstable bridges, and sudden drops. Obstacles were relentless. Energy barriers activated without warning, forcing the cadets to leap or reroute. Lena guided them smoothly, using gestures and subtle directions. Zaire, small and nimble, mimicked her movements, learning to anticipate danger. Varen, though strong, began trusting her judgment over his instincts. Krylox followed silently, amazed at her calm focus and precise timing. At one point, Krylox was cornered by a predator. He froze, unsure whether to fight or flee. Lena noticed instantly. Without hesitation, she fired a device from her belt, creating a temporary energy shield that blocked the predator's path. Then, she quickly led Krylox through a hidden side path she had spotted moments earlier. He stumbled, in awe. "How do you see these things so fast?" he asked breathlessly. Lena smiled faintly. "I don't just see. I notice, I think, and I act. That's how humans survive." The simulation grew more complex. Holographic storms swept across the terrain, altering visibility and creating new hazards. The team needed to climb steep cliffs, cross narrow ledges, and navigate rapidly shifting platforms. Cadets from other teams struggled, some panicking, others falling behind. Lena's team, however, moved efficiently. Every step was calculated, every decision deliberate. Lena's presence had transformed them from a random group into a cohesive unit. Midway through the trial, a sudden collapse occurred. A floating platform gave way under Voran's weight, sending him sliding toward a chasm. Lena reacted instantly. She calculated the trajectory, grabbed a tether from her belt, and swung it around a sturdy pillar. She shot the line toward Voran, catching him just in time. He dangled for a moment, wide-eyed, before she pulled him safely to solid ground. Krylox and Zir watched in disbelief. Lena's quick thinking had saved a teammate again, not through strength, but through timing, strategy, and precision. The team continued, facing increasing threats. Drones swooped from above, predators lunged from shadows, and the terrain shifted unpredictably. Lena stayed calm, giving concise instructions, adjusting movements, and predicting dangers before they happened. Her small frame moved with incredible speed and balance, weaving through hazards that others struggled to avoid. As the trial approached its climax, they reached a wide canyon with unstable bridges. Across the gap, the final objective awaited, a glowing artifact representing the successful completion of the exercise. Other teams hesitated, unsure of how to cross safely. Lena assessed the situation. She noticed a rhythm in the platform shifts and the timing of predator movements. She directed her team with precision. Move together, watch the shadows, leap only when stable. Krylox went first, stepping carefully under Lena's guidance. Zaire followed, light and quick, moving as she had taught them. Varen, though heavier and slower, trusted Lena completely. When a predator lunged at Krylox mid-crossing, Lena reacted without hesitation, creating a temporary diversion that allowed Krylox to leap safely. The team reached the far side of the canyon together, completing the objective faster than any other group. The simulation ended, holograms disappeared, platforms settled, and the fog lifted. Other cadets stared in astonishment. Lena's team had succeeded through strategy, coordination, and calm thinking. not just strength or natural abilities. The instructors observed silently, taking notes. Tharok approached Lena, his expression unreadable at first, then softened slightly. "You have outdone every expectation," he said. "Your mind is your greatest weapon." Lena bowed slightly, acknowledging the praise without pride. She knew that action and result mattered more than words. Krylox finally spoke, his voice low but sincere. You are incredible. I have never seen a human move and think like that before." Lena smiled faintly. Humans survive by noticing thinking and acting before danger reaches them. That is all. Her tone was calm, almost casual, but the meaning was clear. Krylox realized that he had underestimated humans entirely. Their strength lay not in muscles or reflexes, but in the mind and instinct to adapt. The day ended with debriefings and analysis. Lena participated fully, offering insights into patterns she had noticed, predicting possible improvements, and suggesting strategies for future exercises. Instructors and cadets alike listened, some skeptically, some in awe. By the end, it was clear. Lena had not only survived the trial, but had set a new standard for intelligence, adaptability, and leadership among cadets of all species. That evening, as the cadets gathered for rest, Lena walked alone through the academy's corridors. She thought about the day, about the dangers, and about the lessons she had reinforced. Humans were underestimated in the galaxy, often dismissed as weak or fragile, yet she knew the truth. Humans could survive, adapt, and overcome situations that other species could not. Their minds were their greatest tools, and their courage unwavering. Krylox followed her quietly, wanting to understand her better. "Do you ever fear failure?" he asked. Lena looked at him, her gaze steady and sharp. "Fear is a tool, not a weakness. You use it to stay alert, to think faster, to act smarter. Humans learned that long ago." Krylox nodded, realizing that her confidence was not arrogance. It was the result of experience, intelligence, and survival instincts honed over time. As night fell over the academy, the metallic walls glimmered softly. Lena prepared for the next day, reviewing notes, adjusting equipment, and thinking ahead. She had proven herself, but she knew the galaxy offered challenges far beyond the academy. She would face them all, not because she had to, but because humans had a way of surviving, thriving, and excelling where others could not. Somewhere in the dormitory, cadets whispered about the human girl. They had once doubted her, laughed at her, or dismissed her abilities. Now they spoke in cautious tones, acknowledging her intelligence, skill, and courage. Lena had changed perceptions, not by loud words or force, but by demonstrating what humans could do when they relied on their minds and instincts. Lena's gaze turned toward the sky through a narrow window. Stars sparkled like distant beacons, each one a reminder of the vastness of the galaxy and the unknown challenges that awaited. She felt no fear, only readiness. Humans had survived countless dangers, and she was one of them. Tomorrow would bring new trials, but she would meet them with the same calm focus, sharp intelligence, and unwavering courage that had carried her through the day. And as she closed her eyes for a brief rest, Lena knew one thing clearly. The galaxy had underestimated humans for too long, and that would change. One careful, calculated, and daring step at a time. The next day dawned with a quiet tension in the academy. Cadets moved quickly through the halls, carrying their equipment, exchanging strategies, and preparing for what everyone knew would be the ultimate trial. Today was the final assessment, the one that would determine who stood at the top of the academy and who would be left behind. Lena walked among them calmly, her dark eyes scanning the hall as always. She did not hurry or show fear. She had faced difficult situations before, and she knew that careful thinking and attention would carry her through again. The instructors had prepared the most challenging course yet. The training grounds were transformed into a multi-level environment filled with obstacles, traps, and unpredictable dangers. Floating platforms shifted constantly, while drones swooped from above, testing reaction speed and awareness. Holographic predators moved silently among the shadows, striking without warning. The goal was not just to survive, but to complete specific objectives spread across the environment. Lena's team assembled near the starting point. Krylox, still slightly in awe from the previous trial, fell into formation beside her. Varen, Zaire, and the other members looked to Lena for guidance. They had learned to trust her instincts and observations. Today, more than ever, they would need that trust. The instructors gave a final briefing. This is not just skill or strength. This trial will test strategy, teamwork, and adaptability. Survive, complete the objectives, and you will set a new standard. The team dropped into the arena, landing on a rocky plateau that overlooked a canyon filled with shifting holographic bridges and moving platforms. The air hummed with tension as the trial began. Lena immediately scanned the terrain. She noticed subtle patterns, the way platforms shifted, the speed of the drones, and the timing of the predators' appearances. She turned to her team, giving concise instructions.
Move as one. Watch the pattern.
Stay calm. Every move matters. The team advanced carefully. Platforms wobbled beneath their weight, energy barriers flashed without warning, and predators lunged from hidden corners. Lena led with precision, her mind calculating the safest paths, predicting threats before they appeared. She guided Krylox and the others past obstacles that would have stopped stronger or faster cadets. Each decision was deliberate, each movement efficient. At one point, the team encountered a collapsing bridge over a simulated lava pit. Vorin hesitated, unsure if he could cross without falling. Lena analyzed the situation instantly. She noticed a small ridge along the side of the bridge that provided extra support. "Step here," she instructed. "Move slowly, but together. Don't panic." She went first, demonstrating the path. Krylox and the others followed carefully. A predator lunged from the shadows, but Lena anticipated its attack. She swung a grappling line, diverting the creature and allowing her team to pass safely. The obstacles grew more difficult. Platforms rotated at unexpected angles, drones swooped aggressively, and the fog thickened, reducing visibility. Other teams faltered, some falling behind, others panicking. Lena's team, however, moved as a single unit. Every motion was coordinated, every action calculated. Lena's calm focus steadied them, and her ability to predict threats kept them safe. Midway through the trial, a critical moment arrived. Krylox and Vorin were separated from the rest of the team by a sudden energy wall. Predators approached from two directions. Lena assessed the situation quickly. She noticed a weak point in the energy field, a small fluctuation in the pattern that allowed passage if timed correctly. She signaled to her teammates, "Follow my lead."
Move when the pulse hits. She leaped first, guiding them through the brief opening.
The predators lunged, but Lena had already calculated their attack patterns, and they narrowly avoided danger. Krylox gasped in disbelief at her precision. The final objective awaited at the top of a towering structure. The path was treacherous, with narrow ledges, rotating platforms, and aggressive drones guarding the approach. Lena's team paused briefly to strategize. "We move together," she said. "Step by step, watch each other. Stay focused." Her voice was calm, but it carried authority. Every team member understood that her judgment could mean the difference between success and failure. The climb was exhausting. Platforms tilted dangerously, drones attacked from all angles, and predators struck unpredictably. Lena led with unmatched focus, guiding her team past every hazard. She noticed Krylox struggling to maintain balance on a rotating platform and quickly adjusted her approach, offering a steady hand and a brief distraction that allowed him to regain footing. Varen and Zaire followed her directions precisely, impressed by her ability to adapt instantly to changing conditions. As they neared the top, the final challenge appeared. A massive predator, larger and more aggressive than any before, blocking access to the objective. Its claws snapped and eyes glowed ominously. Lena studied it carefully. She noticed that its attacks followed a rhythm, its movements predictable if timed correctly. She whispered instructions to her team, coordinating a sequence of maneuvers that required precise timing. Krylox took the lead, stepping forward as Lena guided him. Varen and Zyre followed, moving in perfect sync. Lena watched the predators strike, timing her actions to create openings. When the creature lunged at Krylox, Lena moved with lightning reflexes, using a grappling line to redirect it. The team leaped together, striking the predator's weak points with precise tools and energy pulses. Finally, the creature stumbled and retreated, clearing the path to the objective. The team reached the final point. The glowing artifact pulsed with light, signaling the successful completion of the trial. Lena's calm determination had carried them through the most difficult challenge the Academy had ever presented. The instructors observed in silence, impressed by the coordination, strategy, and leadership displayed by a human. Tharek approached Lena, his usual stern expression softened. "You have surpassed every expectation," he said quietly. "Your mind, your instincts, your courage. They are extraordinary." Lena nodded, acknowledging the praise without arrogance. She understood that results mattered more than words. Other cadets watched in awe. Where they had once doubted humans, they now saw them as equals, if not superior in some ways. Lena had demonstrated that strength and speed were not the only measures of power. Observation, strategy, and intelligence could overcome even the greatest physical advantages. Krylox finally spoke, his voice filled with admiration. I understand now. Humans are not weak. They are something else. Clever, dangerous, unstoppable." Lena smiled faintly. "We survive because we think, adapt, and act. That is all." The trial concluded with debriefing and recognition. Lena's team received top honors, their performance unmatched by any other group. Instructors praised their coordination, leadership, and problem-solving. Tharok spoke to the assembled cadets, emphasizing that Lena had shown what humans could achieve when underestimated. "Do not judge by appearance alone," he said. "Observe, learn, and respect intelligence wherever you find it." Krylox walked beside her, quieter than usual, still processing everything he had witnessed. You really are different," he said. Lena looked at him, her eyes calm but intense. "Humans survive in ways others do not. That is all," she replied simply. Krylox nodded, realizing that the galaxy had underestimated an entire species, and she was living proof of its potential. As night fell, Lena gazed out at the stars from a narrow window in her dormitory. The galaxy stretched infinitely before her, filled with dangers, mysteries, and challenges. She knew that the Academy had only been the beginning. Out there, the universe would test her in ways far beyond these trials. But she felt ready. She had learned to observe, calculate, and act under pressure. She had survived dangers that could have killed others. Humans had a way of enduring, adapting, and thriving where others failed. The whispers among cadets had shifted. Where doubt had once existed, now there was awe and respect. Lena had changed perceptions not through force, but through skill, intelligence, and calm determination. She had proven that humans could face any challenge and emerge victorious, even in a world dominated by species with greater physical power. Krylox remembered the first day he had bumped into her, when her stare had unnerved him and made the instructor apologize. Now he understood. It was not just a stare. It was confidence, experience, and intelligence distilled into a single presence. Humans were underestimated because they seemed small or fragile, but their minds were powerful tools, capable of achieving the impossible. The academy lights dimmed, and the hallways grew quiet. Lena prepared her gear for the next day, reviewing notes, adjusting equipment, and reflecting on what she had accomplished. She had set a new standard, but she knew there were greater challenges ahead. The galaxy was vast, filled with tests that required more than strength. It demanded intelligence, courage, and the ability to adapt. Humans had all three, and she had shown it clearly. As Lena closed her eyes for a brief rest, she thought about the trials she had faced and the victories she had earned. The universe would continue to challenge her, but she would meet it with the same calm focus, sharp intelligence, and unwavering courage that had carried her through the academy. The galaxy had underestimated humans for too long, and that would change. One careful, calculated, daring step at a time, Lena would prove that humanity's potential was limitless. And somewhere in the dormitory, Krylox whispered again, this time not in doubt, but in awe. The human, she is unstoppable, clever, brave, and strong in ways we cannot understand. We underestimated her. We were wrong. Lena's eyes closed, but a faint smile lingered. Tomorrow was another day, another challenge, and another chance to prove the power of human resilience. She was ready, and the galaxy would learn what it meant to face a human who refused to be underestimated.